Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Q. In today's video, I'd like to share a few hands I've played offline. Let's talk about it. And we can talk about some of the ideas we have when we play cards. This game is a home game between our friends. It's $1 in the small blind and $2 in the big blind. First hand buy-in limit 100 BBs. Although it says 1 or 2, the actual should be 5 or 5. I believe it should be similar to your usual friends game. Mainly recreational players. This hand starts with Q8s. I chose to make an open 12. Most of the time, if I decide to enter the pot, I'll always choose to initiate an open. I'll take the active range advantage. Plus, I have a positional advantage. Flop 2 J8 2 hearts. Here I hit a pair of 8s, but I didn't expect to get donked on the flop. Donked for $10. Then another player calls. Here I think the opponent only bet 10. The other player also just called. I have a feeling neither of them has a very strong hand. Plus, I have the range advantage. Here, I decided to do a raise. The raise goes to 35, so maybe the scale is still a little small. But it's a 3-people pot after all. Plus, we didn't start the game with a deep backhand. It's easy to fold if you get called. But it's being called by 2 players. I feel like I should be smart. I didn't expect the turn. Justice from heaven. Lucky Poker turn has an 8 of clubs. Now all we have to think about is getting the value of the person who draws flush. So I volunteered to bet 50. First player folds. The second player called out an all-in. At this point, it's time to start thinking about the cards you can win with and the cards you can lose with. You can look forward to a new lesson on counting winning and losing combinations in the next few issues. The big question here is whether or not he has any cards other than full house for his all-in. After thinking about it for a while, I realized that it's possible to buy a flush and push for an all-in. Actually thinking about it so much is fake. As you can see, my backhand is actually pretty well committed. There's basically no option to fold. And finally, a call. But I didn't realize he was actually JK. It's a top pair big kicker. Maybe it's because Mr. Q's usual poker image is so bad. He thinks I'm leading with drawing flush. But I didn't realize I was hitting trips 8s. And with my situation and my hand, it's basically impossible to fold. Let's look at the next hand. This hand starts with 9-10 suited. I've got an open 6 and I'm calling. Then my player 3-bet to 26. The open man chooses to call. I also choose call. I don't like to be too aggressive pre-flop with a connect suited hand. If someone Allen, I have no choice but to fold. A connect suited hand is not an appropriate card for an all-in. Still, very much need to see the flop. Flop J8-5, 1 heart. Flop, I have a 2-way straight draw and a backdoor flush. 3-bet player, C-bet for 60. The open player and I both call. Q of clubs on the turn. Cheering or ringing. I didn't expect to hit the nuts on the turn. As this board is too dry, my straight doesn't need much protection. Why don't I wait for the other players to bet before I check raise for value? But what I didn't expect was for the 3-bet player to check. Just when I thought my dreams were about to come to an end, the open player suddenly all in. Then all I have to think about at this point is call or all in. It doesn't really make much of a difference. I don't think there's much difference between call and all in here. But I think if I just call, no more bets on the river are going to be worth anything. It's better to just all in. The result is that neither all in nor call my player will not call. Final showdown, he hits 2 pair J8. The river is the ace of diamonds. It's a big pot to hold on to. Next player says he's ace-jack. If he hit the river and also bad beat J8 2 pair. If J8 doesn't all in on the turn, I should have more value on the river. It's a shame, but it's good to win. Let's take a look at the last hand. Here we have queens as a starting hand, with an open 10. I 3-bet to 30. I didn't realize it was still a call. That's the problem with the entertainment game. As a 1-2 game, the 3-bet of 30 didn't have any isolating effect. It's been a bit of a struggle for me as well, flop AA2. I'm going to have to use my range advantage to bet here. After all, I have QQ. Don't stop betting just because you're capped when you have pocket pairs. Otherwise, your opponent will read it. Getting bet 3-barrel in a row is tough. I'll bet 60 straight on the flop. Only the open player calls. Then his range here is just aces and other pocket pairs. A jack on the turn and I don't have to bet. He can't fold with an ace. I can win a showdown with any other pocket pair. Let's make sure we don't bet aimlessly. Be sure to know what you're doing with every move. A 9 on the river. Let's check. At this point, I know my hand should be big. The final showdown, and he's 10-10. I'm still in this pot without a hitch. Thank you all for watching. I'd like to show you some of my videos so that we can talk about them and make progress together. Remember to follow Mr. Q's channel. Thanks, guys.